get a tripod.
I know. I should use something other than my tablet. It's so
You know, why don't
shaky.
you give her a tripod? Because it's only for an iPhone.
Okay, I gotta find a pen here. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to review atomic theory, because truly some of this you should know already. All right, there are two parts of an atom. Do you know what they are? The first one is the inside bit, and it is called the nucleus. That's the inside part of the atom. The nucleus has two different particles that make up its whole form. So it has two particles. It has protons. Protons are positively charged particles. The way I abbreviate protons, lowercase p with a plus. So sometimes there will be some things that I teach you that might be a little bit different in the way than they were presented to you by your previous science teachers. And that's not because they're bad. I just am a chemist by trade. Like, my degree is not in teaching, it's actually in chemistry. And so the habits that I have are as a chemist, and there are certain things that, like, standards of doing things, you'll see this in a couple of weeks, that I require because I'm a chemist that other high school teachers would not require because they are not chemists. So it's a blessing and a curse. Neutrons are neutrally charged. I'm also really bad at spelling, and writing and spelling on the board are not good for me. So if I spell something wrong on the board, call me out on it. Neutrons, because they're neutrally charged, which means they have no charge, we abbreviate them lowercase n with a 0 to indicate that they have no charge. So these are the two particles that constitute the nucleus. The second part of the atom is the outside part. Does anybody remember what that is? Carter? What it? It is not the crust. That would be like of the Earth.
The cloud.
It is, yes, it is the cloud. It's the electron cloud. Look at you unlocking memories. The electron cloud only has one particle in it, and unsurprisingly, it is called the electron. Electrons are negatively charged, which is going to cause us a problem in a little bit, but we'll figure it out. And we abbreviate them lowercase e with a minus.
What is on it?
What'd you say?
0.
Yep. Yep. P with a plus, N with a 0, E with a minus. And so probably I'll never write the words proton, neutron, and electron ever again on the board, because why write this word when you can write this and it tells you everything you need to know about it? All right, so here are a couple of definitions. You should have learned this in freshman science. What is the atomic number? The atomic number, yes ma'am? Yes, it is the number of protons. The atomic number is special because the atomic number is what defines the identity of an element. So it doesn't matter how many neutrons or electrons are in any atom. If it has 6 protons, it is automatically a carbon atom. no matter what else is true. If an atom has 94 atoms, it is plutonium no matter what. Atomic number has an abbreviation, and it is abbreviated Z. I don't know why. It's probably the most important because it tells you who the atom is. And so of all the particles for identity, the proton is the most important. But then, and you'll find that this is true, there are a lot of concepts in chemistry that have the same or very similar names, and keeping track of them or keeping them straight in your mind is going to be very important. The devil's in the details with this stuff. Atomic mass is almost the same thing as the atomic number. You can calculate it by taking the number of protons and adding it to the number of neutrons. It has an abbreviation as well. It is capital A. Okay, so for example, if we had the element carbon, the Z, the atomic number, is always what goes on the lower left corner. So if it's carbon, it has to also have a 6. So sometimes people won't even write that because if you have this elemental symbol, by definition, you have to have 6 protons. In the same way that if you had silicon, your number would be 14. That's the number of protons. Now, the number that you're going to put in the upper right corner, that is going to be your atomic number. I'm sorry, your atomic mass. And so if you had the number 12 for carbon here, you would know how many neutrons this atom would also have. Because you know the atomic mass and you know the number of protons, so you would also know the number of neutrons. I'll explain this more in detail in a little bit. Let's see, silicon had 28 as its atomic mass. So here there would be 14 neutrons. Here there would be 12 neutrons. So here it looks, in these two examples that I've given you, that like, oh, the number of neutrons is just the same as the number of protons. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's not 12. It would be 6. It looks like, because I gave you these two examples, oh, the number of protons and the neutrons are the same. This is a coincidence only, and I did this on purpose because it's not always like this. Sometimes it is, but not always, especially when you get to the bigger elements. Okay, so then the last thing I want to teach you about the atomic symbol, I wrote it on the board, on the whiteboard, to remind myself because sometimes I mix it up, and that's not good. All right, so atomic mass. Atomic mass is the number of protons plus the number of neutrons. Here's your atomic number. 2 ways to find this. It's the number of protons, yes, but also it's the big number on your periodic table. So for example, bromine over on the wall is element Br. It's one of the sensical elements with their symbols. It's element 35. Bromine would have 35 protons. And the last thing that you would have in your elemental symbol would be the element's charge. Now, charge can really be tricky because electrons are negatively charged. So if you have extra electrons, so if you have more electrons than what you should have, you'll be negatively charged. Yes, sir. Did you need me, Jared?
It's atomic number of electrons.
Oh, the big number on the periodic table. Is that too hard to read? Is that a bad color? Is my handwriting just bad? I think that made it worse. Okay, hang on a sec. I'm gonna recopy what this says here. The atomic number is the big number on your periodic table. Thank you for asking. If you can't read it in the front row, the back row probably can't read it either. If you have extra electrons, you're an element that's negatively charged. So then the opposite is also true. If you have fewer electrons than what you're supposed to have, you're an element that's positively charged. There's another word for atomic mass, and it's called the mass number. There's a really easy formula for that. Protons plus neutrons. So that if you had to figure out the number of neutrons, your algebra would look like this. Neutrons is equal to mass number minus protons. You'll need this in a little bit, and I'll show you where. Charge is calculated by taking the number of protons minus the number of electrons. So, same thing, if you needed to find the number of electrons, that would be protons minus the charge. All right. I want you to turn on your home. Oh, yes, Carter?
So when you're writing elements like C6, H1 and 2, does the atomic number actually be an compound?
That would be a compound and not an element. And that's, you're like 2 days ahead of me. So pause your mind. But that's good. Good thinking. You're just too fast for me. All right, if you look at page 2 of your homework now, please. Number 1, I expect you to answer on your own. That's just basically what I just showed you on the previous page here about parts of the atom. All right, number 2 then, on here, it's like for the first one, we have magnesium, which is element Mg, and it says with 15 neutrons. Okay, so how do you find mass number? And do you need to show your work on this? No, I trust that you can add numbers in your mind. Or on your calculator or your phone, whatever you want to do. Protons plus neutrons. So magnesium, I'm looking at my periodic table, it's element 12. So that means it has 12 protons. And it says that it has 15 neutrons. So its mass number is, that's all you gotta do. So you are gonna need your periodic table because you need to figure out where all of these elements are. Titanium, I think we said is 21, 22. So for part B, titanium would be 22 protons plus the 26 neutrons that I'm telling you about. So the answer for that should be 48. That's your answer. 27 is your answer for part A. Yes, Elliot? What? No, please just the number. Please do not give me complete sentences for anything. Please do not give me complete sentences for anything unless I deliberately ask you for a complete sentence. Brevity is the soul of wit. I don't want to read your sentences. No offense to you, but I don't want to read them. I just want a number. And this doesn't even have a unit. So, I mean, technically it does. But I'm not ready to teach you that yet, so it doesn't need a unit. All right, let's just do number I really quickly. Indium. Anybody find indium on the periodic table? There you go. It is element In, so that's a nice easy one. So it's 49, and then it tells you here that you've got, why are you doing this? 49 plus 65, 114? That's your answer. Do you need to show me this work? You do not. It's one of the rare occasions where I don't make you show your work. Just be neat about your answers. If you're somebody who has really big handwriting, like in other words, if your name is Michael Kuba, I just have never seen anybody write as big as he writes. What'd you say? Isn't that what it says in the problem?
Oh. Which one?
That was I. That was number I. I mean, thank you for asking, though, Dominic, because I do make mistakes
I just didn't.
regularly. And we got to look out for Hayden and John so that I'm not making mistakes for them. Yes, Hunter? Plutonium is down on the bottom. Plutonium is down here. It's element number 94. We'll learn about that next class. It's an actinide.
Miss Bishop,
Yes.
is one D electrons?
Say that again?
Is one electrons?
Yes. I did not cover that. 1D is electrons. Electrons have almost no mass. Protons have all the mass. Electrons have all the reactings.
Wait, so our atomic mass is a proton, number of protons.
244.
Which one, where are you looking?
But how do we know the number of protons? That's by the atomic number, right?
Yes. All right, so we're getting low on time, and I got to show you how to do a couple more things, guys. So switch to page 3. Here is your example thing. Let me give you a couple of examples of how to actually do this. So potassium with 20 neutrons. Potassium is element K. So that's one of those Johns you got to memorize. Now, how am I going to find Z? I look on the periodic table. K is element 19. 19 goes down here. And it says that it has 20 neutrons. So to find A, I'm going to add this plus the number of neutrons I'm given here. 20 plus 19 is 39. Now, I'm not given any information about the electrons, so I can leave C blank. So there should be nothing here. Because if I'm not told, I'm assuming that it's neutral. Yes, Elliot? Yep. Okay, so let's do another one of those. Let's do F. Xenon is element Xe. And it's number 54. So 54 plus 78, 132. Is this making sense? Always think to yourself the big number's got to be on top. All right, now I want to do a couple of the ones with the electrons, like L through T. All right, so tin is element Sn, and it is number 50. That's how many protons it has. I'm telling you that it has 69 neutrons, so that would be 119 up above, right? And then it says it has 48 electrons. So to figure out the charge, you're going to need this equation right here. So charge equals P plus minus E minus. So 50 minus 48 is 2. But is it positive or negative? Positive, right? So we write 2 and then the plus. Nope. Nope, you don't gotta show your work. It's like the only day you don't have to, so savor the flavor. The rest of them are very, very similar. I mean, I can do P for you. Mercury is element Hg, and it's element 80. It says we've got 121 neutrons, so that's 201. And then it tells me I've got 78 electrons, so 80 minus 78 is 2, but is that plus or minus? So 2 plus. Let me find a minus one for you. Oh, did I choose? Oh no, phosphorus would be. Let's go back and do O. Phosphorus is P, and it's element 15. Its top number would be 31. But what number should I put here? Remember, it's protons minus neutrons, so 15 minus 18 is -3. The number comes first, then the plus or minus. If you mix that up and write -3, I won't mark it wrong this time, but there'll be a time when I will mark it wrong, so. This means something, and this in chemistry means something else, so we don't know that yet. All right, so the rest of this is really easy. You guys should be able to manage this. I just want to help you on the chart on page 4. Column 1 is the element, write its name. Column 2 is the symbol, write its symbol. The atomic number, find it on the periodic table, no problem. Columns 3 and 4 are the same number. Atomic number and protons are the same thing. So those two numbers are the same. In order to calculate electrons, you're going to use that equation here. This would be column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For column 6, you'll need this equation. And again, no showing work, not necessary. That's column 6. Column 7, you'll need this equation. And then for 8, you'll need the one that says charge, which is P plus minus E minus. Truly, you should be able to, I know I said that you should be able to finish it today in class. I must have taken too long of talking. I apologize for that. But you should be, whatever convo time we have left, this is not hard. You should be able to manage it. But if you're feeling like, oh gosh, I'm having a hard time with this, I need help, please come to see me. If the easiest way to get an A in this class, so in chemistry I give more A's than any other grade, and that's because most people get their work checked before it's due. Don't pull up on Wednesday morning and before school and be like, hey, can you check this quick? I probably won't have time. But if tomorrow in JetBlock you come and say, hey, can you check this? I'll circle every single thing you have wrong and you can go back and fix it. And so I think that's how most people get their A's. Yes, Dominic?
For page 3, will there only be a charge that includes electrons?
Only if it says something about electrons, yep.